What up, world? It's Eternal Authenticity, broadcasting live, and I'm doing a video just furthermore about lies and truth and love and twin flame separation, all that stuff. So for me, personally, you know, I have my life, you know what I'm saying? 20 years, whatever, of all types of stuff. And then I began, I got to a standstill, I got to a point where I'm like, I felt called to become vegan, from a lot of different reasons. So I did, I went vegan when I'm 20, and a lot of things, that's when a big transformative process began to start, and it's ongoing. It's a lifelong process, to be honest with y'all, but that's when it started. And then, I had been single for a while, and I was still single for a good amount of time, on my own. You know what I'm saying? I had my own apartment, paid my own car, paid my own apartment, single, just working out, working, a whole lot, many hours, like 12 hours and more, sometimes like 14, 16 hours, you know? But anyways, I was doing it. And then I just really deep down wanted, or deep down was, you know, preparing myself for some real love. You know what I mean? That's what this whole process started because I was getting tired of the here today, gone tomorrow hookup type of love. The fake, that's not even love, it's lust, the fake hookup lust. you know, I actually was like, man, I can actually see myself, having a house with like a four-door SUV kind of car or whatever, with the front and backyard and a wife and some children, you know, and going like that. I'm actually cool with that. So start getting my mind right, you know, even more so. It already had been focused. It just got a little distracted, But then finally, about 2 years into being vegan or so, a year and something, then finally, boom, a first partner came, you know. I was doing all this research on Africa, this and that. Then guess what? Boom, Iambo, Satinya, she came into my life. She reached out to me, complimenting me on a social media app, Tinder, and all of those girls weren't showing me no attention, no game at all, no matter what. Some didn't even respond. Some I was swiping right, and they ain't responded at all to nothing. Some they was just playing around, it's just like fluff conversations. It never went anywhere. It was like, you know, it was alright, but it's just like nothing was going down at all. And then finally, the one out of infinity, she messaged me, saying I'm cute, this and that. And it was different because immediately it was just the energy that got me. It wasn't, oh, look at her body, look at what car she has, look at her purse, her Gucci purse, her makeup. Nah, it was none of that, It was her energy, you know, and it was very kind. And we just started from there on. And, and actually, she turned out to live right down the street from my parents, So eventually, she invited, we started getting to know each other, She invited me. We had dinner, we just gravitated towards each other. We just things kind of just came together supernatural, because for me, I was like, wow, I haven't had a real wonderful woman like her ever, and, you know, things grew, and eventually we ended up moving out together and living together for almost a year, you know, and there was a lot of ups and downs. What I'm saying? I'm vegan, and she was eating a lot of meat and dairy, so a lot of times there was conflict and problems inside the household and on the dinner table, especially because of the huge contrast and, a lot of major disagreements. And sometimes that's really painful because it's like, wow, I love love. And at the same time, it sucks when when you are struggling to reach agreements with each other. It sucks when you know, it's like we're addicted to not getting it right with each other. You know what I'm saying? And it's trippy. It's kind of scary, to be honest, because you're like, wow, I thought someone, you think of all this fairy tale magical stuff, and deep down, you're like, wow, it can be possible, even better than fairy tales. Some type of magical love, some type of love that knocks my socks off, you know. And I don't know, just you're here to be patient, this and that, and I guess that's the only thing to keep you going. But anyways, I noticed that, you know, I always put my whole heart out there, staying faithful and loyal, and just like every relationship, there's things to learn, from both sides. And another thing is both sides is truly equal. When y'all see these celebrity stories and paparazzi and TMZ and social media feuds and wars and beefs and stuff like that, it's all a lie and it's all fake and it's drama and it's ego. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why it's so famous and it's so viral. All these scandals and stories that you see, you know, on the web and on social media and all this stuff of people's personal business, celebrities or whatever, that's ego from all sides, from the celebrities that's involving and to the nosy reporters that's getting in their business. They want to see drama like that. They don't want to see people actually truly in love. Doesn't got to be perfect, but y'all ever notice some of those people who aren't even on social media like that, but they are elders and they're older and they live like a peaceful life and they're in love and they're old and they have their own house and like plot of land and stuff like that, and they're not even into all this technology stuff. That's what I admire. You know what I'm saying? Because they transcended all that media war stuff. Because that's what a lot of these reporters try to do. They want to get a scandal. They want to stir something up on any of us. I'm mainly talking about contract athletes and super famous celebrities and stuff like that with a whole lot of you know attention, hype, whatever. I'm glad I don't have to worry about that. But it's just that goes down a whole lot, and I've been making sure that you know I handle things maturely. Because to be honest, all of us have gone through something, especially with love life. And whenever I spoke with my homie Rudy, and he shared with me he was going through some stuff with his partner, it helped me realize that you know people go through things. People go through things, and like you're not alone. It's just people don't want to express themselves. People don't want to speak the truth. But yeah, me and her, we dated for like a year or whatever. You know, a lot of highs and lows, and eventually I drove like 8 hours to drive her to an airport so that she can go back to her country in Angola, Africa, which I haven't been to. You know, so I drive all the way to the airport. I actually had to pay my whole entire rent to fix the car. Because on my way back home from dropping her off from the airport, the check engine light came on, and thankfully I made it home by the grace of God. You know, I was driving with the check engine light for hours. Obviously, but I made it home, and she got to the country, and I noticed some hesitation. She like eased off. She kind of floated away. You know what I'm saying? Like our relationship, it kind of reached a plateau. It kind of like faded out in a way, to be honest with y'all. And I didn't even know why, because I was doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Hugs, kisses, massages, intimacy, affection. being everything, being mean and being kind, being super sweet and being, you know, being mean and evil. I'll just say that. I've been everything. And like, I don't know, she's ready to go. And it's just like, once she got over there, she actually brought the phone that I bought for her too. The plan was she was supposed to come back maybe 2 months later to finish studying and learning English. Um, but that never happened. We never had anything good to say towards each other, no matter all the stuff we've been through. It's funny, the distance is what like started to stir things up because then they want to get in their ego, you know, talking about, oh, I'm from this country, my skin color is this and that, and it gets very toxic and very evil. She's mentioned several evil things, trying to degrade me and put me down off of simple stuff, with skin color, with you know, how I'm getting money, with the things that they've helped me with. All these things are purely ego, to be honest with y'all, because first and foremost, for anybody that's listening, if you have a relationship and y'all have dated for like a decent amount of time, like a year or so, 6 months, a year, 2 years, it doesn't even matter. But bottom line is, if y'all dated, something have brought y'all together in the first place. So that's how you know these egotistical lies and arguments and stuff to fire with fire, these fights that try to tear each other down are stupid because it completely neglects everything that that you initially fell in love with them for. So that's why when she talked about my skin color, I don't care, because she's the one who's encouraged me so many times, talking about, wow, you actually have beautiful skin. It's different. Never hate your skin. People hate my skin because it's dark, and sometimes I wish I was lighter like you. And, all the people like you in my country, they get great success financially, great jobs. People treat them better. All the women follow them. All the women will follow you. Sky, eternal authenticity. When you come to my country, you know, you're so kind, everything, you're so charming and handsome. You're a great chef, you know, you're funny, you're original, you love to cook, all these great things. You know what I'm saying? Everything, deep down, from the deepest insults that they try to throw. I don't believe none of them. And I guess that's bridging the gap of becoming a real man or a real woman is when you can do that. Because otherwise, if you're going to be trying to argue all day, every day, it doesn't solve nothing. It just steals energy and it's stupid because you don't truly feel like that. And honestly, I'm just here to be a peacemaker, a peace worker for the world, because I noticed it within myself. Because, you know, this world ain't perfect. It's a perfect earth, but not a perfect world. And definitely, you know, it shows what you don't want in life and whatnot. And it shows, some people may actually be thinking these things and going through these actual things. And I don't know. Sometimes I just deem it as like a test, a lesson, or whatever. Because sometimes it is hard to believe. Because I'm like, wow, how can someone who we have been friends with, said we were friends with, said we were loved, say all these toxic, evil things, trying to lie, saying they're going with some other person, some other man, or vice versa. It's terrible, to be honest. You stealing a phone you're using a phone that you stole, that I bought for you. You know what I'm saying? Brand new phone. You're blocking numbers. You're not available to talk. It's ridiculous. So that's how I started to catch on that there was something going on. And I'm not worried at all, too, because true love doesn't hide. And that's how I know, there's a lot of healing and work to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one person's fault. But like my point is that, you know, what I noticed is that And these, if anybody else is going through similar things, twin flame, separation, whatever you want to call it, just notice the patterns. Like, y'all ever notice, you know, when you're at family events or whatever, and maybe it's an older couple, they might have been married together for 20, 30 years, or even a couple who's been 5 years or whatever, but maybe they're like really, a lot older than their 30s or 40s or whatever, you know, and they have no problem. You know what I'm saying? They have no problem because they're both on top of their stuff. They both have professions that are working well for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've noticed because in my scenario, I noticed that it was liberating because it's a mirror. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever she want to talk, whenever she want to talk smack about me, I was able to easily hold up that mirror back to her. We both were coming from the struggle. We both were coming from taking the train and the bus and walking the streets and having no money and stuff like that. So it's like, it makes no sense to try to turn our back against each other and talk smack. So that's also what made sense too, is because I noticed whenever you go into different environments, like to college, to class, with different mediators and people like that, I noticed the change in behavior was much different. They want to put on their goody goody two shoes type of, behavior. But then behind closed doors, when it's just you and your partner, you already know there's problems and arguments and unresolved issues. And I noticed that whenever I went to their college, you know what I'm saying? Whenever they wanted to call some mediators, some, friends or family members, or even external mediators and counselors to try to mediate what we have, our problems going on. And immediately it was something different. It was like a goody two shoes, but still, we were still vulnerable and still true and real, by showing that, you know, we both have stuff to work on. You know what I'm saying? That's what I remember the most. Like, immediately, whenever we would lay out our problems, our dilemma that we had going on to some mediators, some older folks than us, you know, immediately the mirror will be held up, and I'll be like, no, you know, come on, Fred, let's go, come on. Immediately, um, it would just be showing that both people had stuff to work on and that there was problems going on, tension, and that's something I learned, that true love is equality, is equal. You should never want to be with someone who is always tearing you down, who is always lying to you, who is always criticizing your skin color, criticizing how much money you have, criticizing how you get the money, criticizing everything, your family's lifestyle, your material possessions, how you're born, you know, the things that they help you out with. They try to act like they own you, try to act like they made you who you are. They try to make you feel like you got so much problems inside of your head. They try to make it seem like that you're the only one that makes the problems, that you are the one that's causing all the problems, that you're the only one to blame, that you need help and that you are the one that's beneath them and that, you aren't nothing until you met them, you know, they saved you, this and that. All that stuff is super fake and shallow and it's not real or cool, and I don't know how I got myself into that, to be honest, because it doesn't add up, when you're having great moments and memories to where there are some disagreements and stuff, and it's just out of your control, when your heart is in the right space and whatnot. And literally, it's like you're having to force it. So it's like let go, and you see that some distance, some long term distance, long spacious distance, you can see how that can really bring the ego out of people, and it's honestly sad because how can someone start talking smack about someone's skin color that they once love or that they say they love, no matter when, best friend, a friend, someone that they do all these helpful things towards each other, partner or whatever. How are you going to try to hold that against someone? How are you going to try to be boastful about that? If you give, then that's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. You're supposed to help each other out and give to each other, and like I notice whenever we start pointing out silly stuff like, oh, haha, I helped you out with the rent, and I helped you out with the car, and I helped you out giving you rides, and I helped you out with ideas, and I helped you out with, just cheering you up and just being there for you, providing food, everything. Like I notice we don't have to do that because true, real love is where it's just accepted and it's appreciated. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone, especially like your intimate romantic partner. That's supposed to be someone who just loves you just for who you come on, bro. Who loves you for who you are, you know? You don't need to explain yourself or prove anything. They should already love you for who you are. Come on. So that's something I learned that you can tell it's toxic when, someone come on, bro. When someone is just attempting to put you down. It's probably a test in disguise. That's how I'm seeing it. Anyways, a lot of people starting to group up around here. So that's probably why I had to go through these tests in such a severe way because I'm destined for great things. I'm destined to achieve great things. You know how hard it is to walk a heavy dog. You know, a heavy distracted dog amongst a bunch of random strangers that have wild dogs that aren't all well behaved. You know how hard that is? It's definitely a talent because the dogs go wild. They go wild. That's all I'm saying. And like you see the different personalities. Like I remember when I had a client, they invited me to a dog park, and it was different because I was able to see everybody's their pup, their child, and it was kind of like a preview for whenever I guess I have children, what it'll be like with all the other parents and their child at school or whatever, you see your product, your creation, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of cool. I'll be, the superhero dad for real. So anyways, y'all have an amazing day. It's Eternal Authenticity broadcasting live. Peace.